To have 4 years of military experience or 4 years of a college degree. About 10% of those subscribed to my channel come from law enforcement sector, or they're interested in law enforcement, or they might even be retired in law enforcement. Some of you might be mentoring somebody that is trying to get into law enforcement, and this video is helpful for you, even if you have that law enforcement background. Guys and gals, I'm looking forward to the contents of the comments and the dialogue. Okay, so let's get started. Backtracking a little bit before we get started. This video is helpful for those of you who are in high school. Maybe you're in junior high school, maybe you just graduated, or maybe you're in your 20s or 30s and even 40s or 50s, and you don't know, well, you can't be in your 50s or 40s. We'll say 30s. Okay, 30s and under. And you don't know really what career path, what route you want to take to your career path is what I want to say. Should I go military or should I go 4 years of college? Look, if you go the college route, if you want to get your 4-year degree, and you are a younger individual, meaning maybe you're still in your late teens or 20s, and you absolutely do not want to do military, go the college route or the university route, and do not go the online college or university route. I have my master's degree in public administration. That was online. I got a full scholarship because I was a instructor, professor, adjunct professor for Kaplan College, and they had direct access to a scholarship program for Kaplan University. Kaplan University was bought by Purdue. Purdue University has an online system called Purdue Global. So anyhow, I have experiences from both. But guys, if you're a younger person, do not go the online college route unless you have to work. And I'm talking about like you have to push 2 jobs, or you're going to be homeless, something to that effect. Or maybe you're supporting a parent or something, or supporting a significant other, and you have to go and work, and you don't have time to go to a brick and mortar university. And that's definitely a different story. The reason why you want to go to the university route, 4-year college brick and mortar school, is because you start forming networks. You start forming professional relationships with your professors. If you are a university student, you should be the teacher's pet, and it helps a lot in the future. You can use your professors as references. A lot of these professors can connect you to jobs. I ran my own private investigations company when I was still teaching at a private college, and I hired 3 of my students. 3 of the students that I trust. They weren't the best at academics, but I know that they were loyal students and they would get the job done, and I never look back saying, why did I even hire you? That's the type of network opportunities that are available. And then there's other students who might have networking opportunities. They might be the connector to somebody else. Like maybe one of your students that sits in back of you, maybe their dad is maybe the local sheriff or something like that, and you wanted to be a sheriff's deputy, and you make friends with this person, you network with this person, that person can get you a job at the sheriff's department, or at least lead you in a better direction. Obviously, just because you know somebody in not all circumstances, but many circumstances, that doesn't mean that you have an open gateway to getting that job. Going to university, it helps you establish critical thinking skills, which again, I highly discourage you guys who are younger. to go the online university route, like the 100% university route, because essentially all what you can do is you can go to ChatGPT, type in your essays, okay? Type in an essay question and then copy and paste it. Or you could just go to Wikipedia, copy and paste it, and then change some words around, and hopefully you don't get caught. As a professor, as a former instructor, I knew who just copied and paste, but essentially you can do that. And when you're in a class where the instructor has like 60 students, it's very hard to catch if that instructor doesn't know you on a one-on-one basis. And you're not learning anything from doing that. You're not using your critical thinking. Again, this is for those of you who are younger, like in your 20s or in high school. Now, there's a time and place for ChatGPT or copy and paste, but if you constantly go that route, you're just shortchanging yourself. Now, if you become a middle-aged person, and everybody is expected to reach that level, if you have to do that, then by all means do that. But usually, when you're middle-aged, you kind of want the paper. you kind of want the paper. Now, that's not the case in every circumstance. Okay, now let's talk about the military route. Give me a second. Drink some water here. If you do your 4 years in the military, keep in mind that there's something called the GI Bill that can help pay for college. It can help pay for tuition. Guys, that's invaluable. And I really hate when veterans say, some of them will say, hey, I get free college. Or somebody will say, hey, go to the military so you get free college. It's not free college, it's earned. So it really drives me nuts when I hear veterans say that, or when I hear others talk about that it's free college. Again, nothing is free. You earn that. But in addition to getting college, getting the GI Bill, getting your books and tuition paid for, there's also medical insurance. If you meet a certain financial threshold, okay, you can get VA benefits paid for. Now, it's questionable as to whether or not it's good medical service. I think it really depends on your location, but that's something that doesn't come out of your pocket. Now, the current insurance rates, guys and gals, they're just out of control right now because of Obamacare. Medical insurance is not really affordable anymore. For example, where I work at, every month, I think we pay about $2,400 a month for PPO. That's not private patrol operator. That's basically it's a preferred network. So you get to sort of go to whatever doctor you want to, and that's your PPO insurance. My opinion, it's a lot better than HMO. It's a lot better than the Kaiser plan, which I'm not even going to talk about that type of socialized medicine. But look you're saving that much a month. Now, you may not be thinking about it right now, but later on, if you develop health problems, you are going to love those veterans benefits. Okay, experiences. The military helps you develop yourself. It helps you develop character. It lets you, I guess, grow up, so to speak. I mean, you're living on your own, obviously with a bunch of other individuals, but you're learning to manage your affairs on your own. And I think that's what the military does the best work on, is helping you establish a foundation for character. That's another good reason to join the military. I'm telling you, the recruits, the police officers that are coming out of the academy, you just tell like they have no life experience, and you can just tell that they are in desperate need of real life experience. All right, guys, let me just go through the comments real quick. I seen some pop up. Ruda WG says the VA home loan helps, and that's another thing. There's a VA home loan program out there that gives you a loan at a lower percentage. And then he says you can be a drone operator in college. And then he says, Ruda WG says, what sucks is being away from family. But recently the National Guard is adding a Ranger Regiment battalion, so one can be part-time and still have regular life. Oh, that's pretty neat. That's pretty neat. All right, guys. Let me also talk about some of the career paths in the military. Now, I'd never been in the military. I took the college route, the university route, because no military branch would accept me. I walked into, after 9/11, I walked into, my friend led me to the Marine Corps office, and I wanted to go in as a reserve, and I just can't pass I couldn't pass the screening on almost all the branches because of the A word, asthma, which is fine. But all I'm gonna say is, like, I didn't take that route. I took the college route. But what I will tell you is that in the military, there's MOSs. Okay, you have your specialties. Air Force doesn't use MOSs; they use some other categories of systems to classify your occupational specialty, which I don't know what that is. But look, there's so much experience that you could get in the military. I think the Air Force has security forces. Okay, they have military police. The Army has military police. I think all the branches have military police. And then there's always, I think, like half the branches have some type of an infantry branch. I mean, obviously the Army is traditional infantry and the Marines is traditional infantry. But there's that route also, which I believe it does help. But guys, just know what you're signing up for. You know, if you want to go the law enforcement route and then you get into the infantry, just keep in mind it's infantry. It is infantry. That means that you could potentially see combat. And if you are injured or you get PTSD, you're gonna have a hard time accomplishing your dreams of becoming a police officer. Okay, so I'm just gonna throwing that out there. Having said that, I appreciate everybody that served in a combat capacity overseas, and especially those that came back in a worse condition than when they left. Really, really appreciate you guys for taking place on where a lot of us should be, yet we go different routes. You got to just think about that. So if you're scared about combat, you know, it's not for everybody. Pick a military specialty or a branch where you're probably not going to see that. You got to be careful, though. You got to be careful. Don't ask your recruiter for tips. Probably want to ask somebody who was former military for some tips, because recruiters, they want, their job is to recruit. That's why they're called recruiter. I'm not saying that they lie or make some stuff up. I'm just saying that you might go in to be a mechanic and you might end up being something else. Coast Guard, if you want to go law enforcement route, I think the closest to law enforcement, and technically they are part of the Department of Homeland Security, is the Coast Guard, the U.S. Coast Guard. But I do want you to keep in mind that you could potentially see combat. And when I say combat, I'm not talking about like overseas combat in Afghanistan or Iraq. I'm talking about combat like on the coast. Guys, there's probably a bunch of Coast Guard gunfights that happen in the seas that we don't even read about, that we don't even hear about. But it's constantly a problem. I mean, look, you're doing drug interdictions in the middle of the sea. You think that some of these drug smugglers are not going to shoot at you? So just keep that in mind. Now, if you get hit, you know, you get shot and you pass away, then everybody's going to hear about it. But if you just get shot, the news media might not pick up on it. Whoever the Coast Guard is, well, we know who they are. They do a really good job at concealing these types of incidents. But guys, even a Coast Guard member of the Coast Guard can't see action. You want to know who one of the first ships to see action on Normandy was? It was a Coast Guard ship. I was reading a story. I was watching a story about a Coast Guard member, and he thought that he was going to just patrol the New York, right? Just the coast of New York during World War II. Well, that Coast Guard ship went all the way to Normandy, where they received hundreds, if not maybe thousands of casualties. The Coast Guard, I think, basically dropped off. I think it was the Army. I don't know what branch, Marines. I don't know. But guys, the first ships that were taking fire, not the first, but the first set of ships were Coast Guard. So you really don't know what you're signing up for. You know, you think that you're just over here on the United States coast. You don't know where you're going to go. I think the safest route, probably, if you don't want to see combat, is probably Air Force. Again, it just seems like not the smarter, but those guys that score higher on the ASVAB test seem to go to the Air Force or even the Navy. I don't think that your chances of seeing combat are too great if you're in the Air Force. Now, Air Force, they do have like a pararescue unit, which trains with the SEALs and all the other Tier 1 agencies out there. But again, your chances of seeing combat are very slim. Join the Air Force, and again, there's nothing wrong with joining the branch that sees the least of combat. Just look for the future of your career. If you get into military police, it looks really good for any organization. But I'm telling you guys, if you're able to, do 4 years of military rather than 4 years of college, because you can always finish college later on and get your bills and your tuition paid for, and you develop that real life experience, and at the same time it looks better on paper. If you're a veteran, if you apply for federal law enforcement service, you get veterans preference, you get veterans credits, even for contracts. If you own a private security company and you're a veterans owned agency, you get points. Okay, you get more points for being a veteran. You get it helps. It helps a lot. So that's all I got. Looking forward to the dialogue. Let me know from you guys who are veterans. Do you think it's better to go 4 years of college and maybe you could become an officer of the military and then get into law enforcement? Or do you think 4 years of military service is better for a law enforcement career? Let us know, guys, especially for those of you who took, maybe even those of you who took different routes. And I want to hear from you, those of you who, like me, took the university or the college route. What do you think? What are your thoughts on this? All right, guys, I'm out. Take care. Be safe.